more at affinityinsure.ca. Protect what matters most to you and your family. Insure with expert advice, trusted solutions, and the right protection. At Affinity Insurance Solutions, we have got that risk covered. Find out more at affinityinsure.ca. Protect what matters most to you and your family. Insure with expert advice, trusted solutions, and the right protection. At Affinity Insurance Solutions, we have got that risk covered. Find out more at affinityinsure.ca. Protect what matters most to you and your family. Insure with expert advice, trusted solutions, and the right protection. At Affinity Insurance Solutions, we have got that risk covered. Find out more at affinityinsure.ca. Protect what matters most to you and your family. Insure with expert advice, trusted solutions, and the right protection. At Affinity Insurance Solutions, we have got that risk covered. Find out more at affinityinsure.ca. Protect what matters most to you and your family. Insure with expert advice, trusted solutions, and the right protection. At Affinity Insurance Solutions, we have got that risk covered. Find out more at affinityinsure.ca. Protect what matters most to you and your family. Insure with expert advice, trusted solutions, and the right protection. At Affinity Insurance Solutions, we have got that risk covered. Find out more at affinityinsure.ca. Protect what matters most to you and your family. Insure with expert advice, trusted solutions, and the right protection. At Affinity Insurance Solutions, we have got that risk covered. Find out more at affinityinsure.ca. Protect what matters most to you and your family. Insure with expert advice, what matters most to you and your family. The right protection. Insure with expert advice. Affinity Insurance Solutions, we have got that risk covered. Find out more at affinittyinsure.ca. Protect what matters most to you and your family. Insure with expert advice, trusted solutions, and the right protection. At Affinity Insurance Solutions, we have got that risk covered. Find out more at affinittyinsure.ca. Protect what matters most to you and your family. Insure with expert advice, trusted solutions, and the right protection. At Affinity Insurance Solutions, we have got that risk covered. Find out more at affinittyinsure.ca. Protect what matters most to you and your family. Insure with expert advice, trusted solutions, and the right protection. At Affinity Insurance Solutions, we have got that risk covered. Find out more at affinittyinsure.ca. Protect what matters most to you and your family. Insure with expert advice, trusted solutions, and the right protection. At Affinity Insurance Solutions, we have got that risk covered. Find out more at affinittyinsure.ca. Protect what matters most to you and your family. Insure with expert advice, trusted solutions, and the right protection. At Affinity Insurance Solutions, we have got that risk covered. Find out more at affinittyinsure.ca. Protect what matters most to you and your family. Insure with expert advice, trusted solutions, and the right protection. At Affinity Insurance Solutions, we have got that risk covered. Find out more at affinittyinsure.ca. Protect what matters most to you and your family. Insure with expert advice, trusted solutions, and the right protection. At Affinity Insurance Solutions, we have got that risk covered. Find out more at affinittyinsure.ca. Protect what matters most to you and your family. Insure with expert advice, trusted solutions, and the right protection. At Affinity Insurance Solutions, we have got that risk covered. Find out more at affinityinsure.ca. Protect what matters most to you and your family. Insure with expert advice, trusted solutions, and the right protection. At Affinity Insurance Solutions, we have got that risk covered. Find out more at affinityinsure.ca. Protect what matters most to you and your family. Insure with expert advice, trusted solutions, and the right protection. At Affinity Insurance Solutions, we have got that risk covered. Find out more at affinityinsure.ca. Protect what matters most to you and your family. Insure with expert advice, trusted solutions, and the right protection. At Affinity Insurance Solutions, we have got that risk covered. Find out more at affinityinsure.ca. Protect what matters most to you and your family. Insure with expert advice, trusted solutions, and the right protection. At Affinity Insurance Solutions, we have got that risk covered. Find out more at affinityinsure.ca.
Okay. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Affinity Insurance Solutions. We are here to get you the right insurance solutions that meets your insurance. And I apologize. Let's get started again. Welcome to Affinity Insurance Solutions, everyone. My name is Gautam Mehta. Here at Affinity Insurance Solutions, we provide solutions that you deserve to protect your family and what matters most to you. So let's get started on our main topic of the day, critical illness. Of course, at Affinity Insurance Solution, we have a fantastic team members that are here to help you and get you the right advice, the right protection that you want to find for your family. It is very important to reach out to advisors that are trusted, giving you an honest advice, an honest feedback, and the knowledge you deserve to make an educated call, because your financial planning and your insurance protection is key part of your life essentials decision making. So please reach out to one of our advisors with a wonderful team here. They are expert in their field and they will provide you the right information that you deserve. Thank you. And our topic of the night is critical illness insurance. This seminar is divided into two sections. Essentially, we want to talk about living benefits. Living benefits, what does it mean by living benefits? Living benefits are benefits that you wish to get when you need them the most while you are still alive, such as critical illness protection or disability insurance. These plans help you protect your financial planning, your financial thought process, and your lifestyle in an important and critical time in your life, where your health impacts your income and impacts your family. And our topic today is, of course, the critical illness, which is the first part in understanding living benefits. So let's dive in and understand who created critical illness. Dr. Marius Bernard. He started this concept of critical illness in 1983. And he brought up a very good point when he was treating his patients and wanted to know why he was not able to maximize their care. And part of the reason is a lot of his patients were struggling through critical conditions, but were unable to maintain their lifestyle towards recovery because they had to go out, work, make a decent living, and still try to struggle to survive under harsh health issues. And his heart gave a solution to him, and we call that as critical illness. Let me introduce a little bit of video from his own voice, with his own words, to try to explain to you what critical illness is. Let us start that video.
Dr. Marius Barnard, the creator of critical illness insurance, was born in Beaufort West, South Africa. The son of a missionary, he spent most of his childhood in one of the country's most deprived areas. Despite this modest upbringing, his parents taught him and his brother Christian the benefits of knowledge. Both brothers went on to study medicine and became heart surgeons. On the 3rd of December 1967, he assisted his brother Christian in the first human-to-human heart transplant.
And what is the patient's condition now?
Very well. We are doctors and we try to save a human being's life, and I don't think there's anything special about it.
As a doctor, I diagnose and treat patients. And as I went through medicine over a question of 20, 30 years, I saw tremendous changes, not only in the medical need, but also in the financial needs of our patients. A case that really triggered my ideas was a young divorcee, 34, with 2 young children. The x-rays and biopsy confirmed the diagnosis of lung cancer, and we removed her lung. She went home 5 days later, and 3 weeks later she was back at work. 2 years approximately after the operation, she came to me at my consulting rooms, basically dying on her feet, pale, exhausted, loss of weight, skin and bone, gasping for breath. And I examined her, and it was pretty obvious that she was now in the terminal stages of cancer. Why should she come to my rooms? You know, she can hardly walk. I can see her. She says, "Doctor, I've come from work." Why was she at work? She needed the money. She needed money to provide for her children and herself rent, food, education. She died a few weeks later, and when she was buried, the life insurance policy paid out. Wouldn't it have been better for her to have the money when we diagnosed cancer? That poor little girl had to work until she basically was dead.
This and many other cases like it made Marius realize there was a need for a new type of insurance, one that paid out on the diagnosis of illness, such as cancer, heart attack and stroke. He shared his vision with an insurance company, which then went on to develop the first critical illness insurance policy.
It's really a marriage between medicine and insurance. I always say we as doctors are the physical doctors. The protection insurance is the financial doctors. If you're ill, the first person you'll go to will be if you have a heart attack, to your physical doctor. But I hope at that stage you've already made provisions so that your financial health is in place. So when your physical goes, that you have financial protection to provide you with that money, which is the promise of insurance and the definition of insurance, to give you money when you need it most.
Welcome back, everyone. I hope you enjoyed and rather had a very resonating, emotional video that you watched. There is a message that he makes it very clear that we need a financial doctor in our life. And a financial doctor is a person or an individual that can help you make those financial decisions that can make your life a better place to be while you're still having a hardship elsewhere. Being able to have that freedom to focus on your health and focus on your family at the critical time could be very beneficial. And it is a very good idea to think about. And the doctor introduces it very well. And since his introduction to this product, it has been served and provided by various insurers so that you, a client, can meet your requirements in your specialized sectors in and according to your personal planning. Hence, the various solutions available out there, various insurance can provide diversity and varied protection that can give you the flexibility you need to make to be able to make choices that can help you at the most critical time. So what do you think? Who receives the critical illness insurance proceeds? How do they use that? How do people tend to spend their critical illness benefit amount? That's the general question. That's the idea behind having a critical illness policy, or its idea behind any insurance policies, to be able to get a protection. So how would you like to use it? We tend to hear that people tend to like to use these benefits towards their recovery, which is fantastic. That is what it's designed for. But moreover, a critical illness policy is a total flexibility to your expense. You get to decide what you wish to do with these funds. This benefit amount is up to your discretion. You can use it to recover your lost income while you're trying to get better. Since because of your illness, you might not be able to go to work, you might not be able to have the same kind of income requirements to meet your regular expenses, to maintain your household expenses such as rent or mortgage payments, or even additional expenses from creditors, from daily payments, or raising your child, or even for your own regular lifestyle of getting groceries, moving around in a day-to-day life. All these activities matter, and they tend to cost us our livelihood, our income. And if we are not able to provide that income, we need that little bit of help that can take us beyond what we could just do it if we didn't have any sort of help. So these little things can take you far away. And of course, if the critical illness is so drastic and almost terminal or terminal itself, you can live out your bucket list. Spend the years and the days and the time you have remaining doing what you love the most. Spend those moments cherishing it heartfully and reaching your deepest emotions and understanding the situation you are going through. It matters. And all this work that you would have put your life through, trying to get yourself to a certain point, to enjoy life, you could at one point have to make that call and live out that dream with this budget. If you have that option, we would all wish everyone the speediest and the fastest recovery, and feel that emotional health is more focused than talking about what our day-to-day financial expenses are at that moment and struggling through those difficult times with financial criticality as well as physical criticalness. And remember, all these decisions also matters most is when it comes to emotional health, and your emotional health is important. So please understand that it is not just about spending money. It's not just about getting the best recovery. It's also about giving yourself that hope, giving your family that emotional support so that you can all come together and make things a little better. How does critical insurance work? It's quite simple. It is a policy that covers the key critical illnesses mentioned on their policy. And when such critical illness does occur and it meets the insurance definitions of a claim, you would get a lump sum benefit amount. So you get to choose how much benefit you wish to have when you need it the most. And that becomes our base of starting to understand how much we might need. This depends on your lifestyle, your requirements, and the age and the time required to recover. All of these matters towards understanding how much cover you would need. And such financial planning needs a little bit of more rational thinking and being able to understand that we have to consider all possibilities of potential claims so that you minimize that risk of worrying about financial losses at such moment. When you decide that amount, it is a fair and a reasonable thought process, and it's simple. The insurance company accepts you while you are still healthy. The part of any insurance policy when it comes to your health is to buy them early while you're healthy. Unfortunately, it's very difficult or impossible to get insurance when you become unhealthy or if you have already been diagnosed with such critical illness. Henceforth, it's very important to buy such products and solutions that they are there while you're still healthy. And valuing your health now makes it that much more valuable thought process in your life. When you make a regular premium into these policies, you will have a continuous policy. And when and if this policy ends, if it's term insurance or a whole life critical illness, depending on your situation and your options that you have selected, when you are diagnosed within that time period of the policy with a covered critical illness, a lump sum benefit is paid out. I want to introduce and make a very clear concept. There is a bit of a confusion regarding how people understand a survival period. A critical illness policy is a survivor's policy. By this, what we mean or what insurance companies' definitions on the policy tends to explain is that you must survive and live out a critical situation with your health. Example is if you were suffering through a heart attack. You must survive 30 days on an average with certain policies, but example here is, let's say, 30 days survival period. Then you must survive 30 days of that heart attack for the insurance company to pay out the benefit amount. So most critical illness policies in the market will describe a survival period. And a survival period is very important for you to understand, because a critical illness policy, end of the day, it is a policy for the recovery. It's for, can we go back one more time, please? It is for a survivor's recovery insurance plan. It's about having the ability and the moment for you to take a little bit of look back and survive through that hardship for a small amount of time and resolve it. Because of course, we all tend to plan our financial planning with life insurance, and we do have that option to get that benefit to our beneficiary. But here we are talking about while you're still alive, you have survived, you have suffered, or you're still suffering through such covered critical illness, and now you need that benefit, that support, so that you can continue surviving and continue towards getting better as your life progresses, as your time progresses. Thank you. Okay. One of the other elements of using this fund is the understanding that our cost of medical expenses in Canada, of course, our provincial health plans tend to cover most expenses. But do they cover all expenses? Unfortunately, no. There are unfortunate and outside circumstances expenses that come along that our Ontario OHIP plans or provincial health plans do not cover. And we need to be careful about these expenses, and they do arrive. Example is for that crutch, their ability to get that mobility wheelchair, the ability to get yourself settled in the household, to get recovered during this process. All of these additional expense, again, like such as putting a ramp in your house so that you can get in and out of your house with a little bit of ease. All of these additional expenses could be beneficial, make things a little bit easier, help you out when you need it, and you are not looking for that financial support elsewhere. Rather, you have taken the responsibility of protecting yourself against a financial uncircumstantial situation or unprecedented situations, losses, and you are still confidently standing on your self-reliance. And part of financial planning is to be able to say that I have thought about my situations and my planning in the future, that I can be self-independent and less reliant on others to help on the most drastic situations. And yes, of course, you can ask for help, but being able to have that confidence and being able to back yourself up and not rely on a potential support is still a great way to live your life proudly and honestly and willfully. So please understand the cost of medical insurance is not just covered by OHIP in every place. There are situations where it cannot be covered. There are additional expenses that we must think about and cover while we are suffering through such critical illness. And let's take an example here. Let's understand some of the critical part that most people do not value. And one of these understanding is this. When you live out your daily life, you move about, you do your daily activities, you feed yourself, you do your daily hygiene activities. You do not pay someone to do so. When you go make your income, you come back. You have done an entire days of work that you might not have understood the financial implications of them, because you give themselves to yourself essentially for free, but it is not free. When you need help, when you need that somebody else to come and help you do your daily activities, such as daily hygienes, such as mobility, such as being able to feed yourself, then you need to pay someone, a support system. And that support system has a cost of minimum wage or more. And essentially, you need not only to pay your mortgage bills and your rent bills and your regular expenses to maintain your lifestyle, but you also need to pay for that support. And that is an extra cost that we do not see coming. Moreover, you will have a situation where maybe you don't hire a support structure, but you might have your family member give up their salary or give up their job, or might not even be able to focus on their work because they are worried and concerned about you. Your spouse is, of course, going to be impacted. Your children are going to be impacted. Everybody that cares about you, that lives with you, those that are surrounding you, all care about you. And there is an emotional impact that matters as well. So a policy of critical illness is not just about you or myself protecting myself. It is also about the idea that I am protecting my family against situations that can hurt them, that can put them in compromising position, that can create situations that we cannot help them because they are trying to help us. So we have to consider these elements and consider that our living expenses will impact either we get a support structure or we rely on our own existing support structure. But we must value them, and we must consider them, and must understand that even their resources of helping us in our daily activities matters. Be it your spouse, or be it your children, or your friends, or extended family. They are always there trying to help, but their life gets impacted as much as yours. When does this coverage come? Like I mentioned, all these structures that happens or that impacts during a critical illness, you need that additional support. You can use that one-time benefit to do things that you might not necessarily get to. Or I would rather sometimes say, you might not want to, because nobody wishes an illness to anyone. But life happens, and we must understand this. And we must protect our own assets. Benefits can be taxed free from the insurance company. So you're not paying for the taxation on it, but you're maximizing that benefits towards your program. You're using this money to recover, get better diagnosis, get access to supports that can lead you to better diagnosis or better recovery or faster recovery. You get access with most insurance companies to the world's best doctors, so that you can get the second opinion that you might not be able to if you didn't have the funds. Sometimes it's better to go get a treatment outside the country where you might get that treatment faster, sooner, quicker, easier, well maintained. We live in this global society where opportunities and recovery plans are globally available. But all of that costs money, costs time, and costs you a financial burden if you do not have a financial planning. And critical illness is very important in part of your financial planning, and it is to be considered and not left on the sidelines. critical illness will help you when you really need it most in your life. Ripple effect. It's a very good concept, and I've already mentioned it a few times today, and I will reiterate this point. Your family, everybody that you depend on, the world that lives around you, they all feel the impact of your critical illness. And it's never just about you or us. It is everyone involved. Your life impacts others, and others' life impact yours. So when we provide this level of protection, you are giving not yourself just the advantage, but you're giving that advantage to everyone that depends on you, to every life that you touch on a daily basis, to make sure that they have a good life, that they are protected, they are well deserved in the best care possible. And for that, the ripple effect is the best words to put it, because your life reflects and echoes throughout your society and your community, and most importantly, your own family. So protect yourself, and by doing so, you are protecting your family. And when they are protected and something happens to them, you are also protecting yourself. So consider that when such drastic events happen in the life, the most critical, heart-wrenching moments in the life happens with your health struggles. Your physical health is not well. You're struggling to that emotional part. You're struggling to that mental abilities being weakening. You want this kind of support. You want them to be there for you. You want them to be there for you in a positive manner. You want them not to be part of your concerns on your personal concerns, that fights you are going through. So it's important to consider a program that can benefit you while you are going through that drastic situation and recovering yourself and being a fighter, being a survivor, and letting your family know that we can make this happen together. It's very important to understand this. It's very important to consider these elements while you're doing financial planning, and consider that certain cost of getting coverages like this will help you. It's easy to perceive that we make this willful donation to a third party when they get sick. It's a fantastic idea, but it's very heart-wrenching to see that the person who is most willing to provide the support to other members might not see that reciprocated back to them. But insurance is a very similar thought process. Instead, why can't we think that our premium payments are equivalently well-deserved and well-placed, where we protect ourselves, but we are also providing that funds, that premium payments into the pool that is shared and protected by the community of the pool who has bought the same coverage as you, and providing them the coverage. Something happens to them, but in turn, there's a promissory note, a promissory guarantee that can help you also be protected when something happens to you. And I think it's a very key important element to understand that as a society, insurance, it's part of being in the community. It's part of being that charitable member of the community, and also being able to have the confidence that once I am making those premium payments, I am not only helping somebody else, I'm also helping myself. It is very important to reflect on this, because your illness and your health takes a different element. And it's easy to ask for help. It's easy to go out and get yourself those fund me programs, but it is on a whole. I would say, let's become a financial planning experts. Let's make our society a stronger society so that we are all well versed in our own financial planning that not only are we protecting ourselves, but our community. So insurance tends to have these negative elements around it, but I would say look at the positive, look at the societal impact of your decision-making about your protection and your family's protection, and the community whole is better off with that financial planning done rightfully. Types of coverages you can be offered under critical insurance plan are varied, different on different insurance companies, different options exist. You can buy temporary term insurance when you are in that budget bind, or that you do need a higher coverage now than later because you don't have that savings yet. Of course, you want to have your own savings, be able to spend your own money if you have saved it, if you have planned it, but that will take some time. We might not have that 100, 200,000 in our pockets now. But if we have the coverage like term plan and start having to save when we are young, we might at a later age likely not depend on insurance as much, or might not need as high of a coverage, since we would have a little bit of self-reliance on our own money. You can also get lifelong plans on critical illness, permanent policies, and they matter as well. We focus on where these policies can be considered, such as your family history can be an important part of you, or part of your financial planning requires you to think about that long-term requirements, such as living in a long-term facility. Permanent policies tend to have those elements included where the critical illness can be converted into long-term care insurance, so that you do have a policy that pays out even if you have to move yourself into the long-term care facility. So permanent insurance can be beneficial in part of financial planning when we look at the long term. There are also wonderful programs available in the market, which are permanent life or permanent critical insurance policies for children. These programs are fantastic because you can provide a gift of life rather than a sense or a gift of life insurance which reflects on the death and goes to the beneficiary or grandchildren. But what sometimes parents forget is providing a living benefit can be more emotional, can be more powerful to your own children, as much as thinking about getting them a life insurance protection and getting that benefit to the beneficiary in the long run or the generations thereafter. I believe a well-balanced strike is important. We want to lock in the child's health at an early age. We want to make sure that they are protected when their health is fantastically healthy versus when they get older or their lifestyle changes or their behavior of lifestyle changes. At least they are protected, and they're protected for, could be for a term or could be for the rest of their life, depending on the parents' planning needs. And again, critical illness can be very important in understanding estate planning because it can help to show that as well. There are more elements here. You can get critical illness with the return of premium options, whereby you can get return of premium if you cancel the policy after a certain amount of period, or at the end of the term, on the completion of the term. You can get anywhere between 50% or up to 100% return of premium on cancellation. You have to choose that options. We have to sit down and understand and evaluate your budget, your planning, your needs, and your requirements. It's not about just now, it's about what stages of your life you are and how it will impact you and how these benefits can help you out when you are at that stage. And those requirements changes as you get older. So it's important to reevaluate critical illness on a regular intervals to understand that you have the protection, you have the right protection, and it is doing so in the right place so that your lifestyle is equivalently supported. Certain insurance companies can cover multiple events as well, depending on the options that you have covered. I want to add here, and it is not mentioned because we are trying to keep this webinar and then general critical illness focus. There are policies of critical illness that business owners or self-employed can also use using their financial and estate planning and maximizes their taxation efficiency, even using critical illness plan, just as using a universal life policy, you could use a critical illness policy and do your financial planning. So do sure to reach out to our expert advice in business planning or commercial planning using critical illness as well. And you will know and learn how we can maximize your value for your dollar. Understanding what is covered is also confusing in the market. A lot of the time when we meet clients and we talk about critical illnesses, they tend to think, oh, we have got critical illness. The general term of critical illness insurance does not mean you have the full comprehensive coverage. Most policies that are easily available tend to have few coverages. They tend to have the basic critical illness coverage on it, which is usually 3 things: heart attack, stroke, and cancer. And those are usually defined under the definition of life-threatening only. There is a moderate coverage out there as well, where you can get anywhere between 12 to 16 conditions covered, and their definitions vary according to insurer. So it's very hard for you to sit down and just say, oh, a company A, insurer A versus insurance B is providing different premiums, so cheaper is better. No, it's not that simple, because the corporation or the insurer B is providing a varied definition. Maybe they're focusing on their definitions, meaning much more aggressively so that they can make their claim payments, versus somebody who's trying to be lenient about it and try to let more claims pass through. So policies comparison also matters based on which insurer you go with. And it's not as easy and simple to say that I have bought one coverage, therefore I'm comparing the premium to this one against another one, because there is no 2 exactly same policy with any insurer. They tend to have variation in deeper understanding of the policy. And I wish you to reach out to your expert advisors and make the right call, make the right educated decision, and ask questions that matters, because they will matter when you need to make a claim. So it's better to discuss them now. It's better to understand them now, so that you don't have to waste your struggling time fighting with insurers and trying to find yourself a lawyer that takes a chunk or a piece of the pie as well. So it's important to put the time now, ask the question now, find that lawyer that can support you now, find that accountant that can support you now, than trying to find somebody when you need them the most. It's important to have all these elements combined and planned and in your arsenal, in your potential, in your briefcase, so that you are financially planned and stronger while you need them. Comprehensive coverages can cover a vast variety of insurance, almost 25 conditions. I will go back to the slide where we discussed. That's a huge set of conditions that can be covered. I apologize there. Under these plans, critical illness can cover a variety of coverages if we have done the right planning, the right conversations, and thought about this very carefully. Because life happens, family has history, and our body always takes an impact from everywhere. And last year we have seen illness that can come from nowhere and take over not just your life, but entire society's life and circumstances. Imagine having a critical situation where you cannot do that. So please look into the deeper meanings, deeper definitions, deeper understanding of how each policy covers these conditions, what they mean, and how does it impact you and your lifestyle. It is not very far from this idea that we go to a gym. People go to gym because they want to live a healthy, happy life. And a healthier person tends to go to gym on a regular basis because you want to continually be healthy. Part of financial planning is to understand that you have to have similar thought process and similar behavior when you're doing financial planning, and you need to think about it regularly. You need to practice financial planning regularly and understand the impacts of it and recognize them. As much as you wish to protect your physical health, you should also protect your financial health against physical health losses. There are conditions, as we talked about, that the comprehensive coverage can offer you. And these conditions are also generally listed here today, but we can also talk about it a little bit deeper because it varies according to the companies. It can vary according to your age and your requirements. So when we talk about age, we have additional benefits for young kids, children, for parents who have a history or understands that kids can be vulnerable, their life can be vulnerable, and it's important to protect them as much as protecting yourself. And there are wonderful coverages out there to protect the child. No one wishes to think about it. It's very heart-wrenching to talk to parents about this because they are emotionally deeply attached to their children. But we have to be a little bit more practical while doing financial planning and still think about this and still protect them against unfortunate events. And here are some of the drastic ones that we see in the community, and the parents can get these protections, can help their children if they suffer through drastic situations and illnesses and diseases that we don't wish for anyone, but life once more again happens, and situation has to be dealt with in the most reasonable way. There are conditions to how such coverages can impact you. If these conditions tend to be life-threatening, the insurance companies do provide you with 100% coverage, which means you will get a full lump sum benefit. Sometimes if the conditions are not as life-threatening or early diagnosis, then you can have the option to get 15% advance on the benefit amount. So you can still take the time to recover and get out of that early stage rather than waiting for it to become worse. And again, the insurance company can help you make that call and give yourself that little bit of boost and advantage. Some companies offer and go as far as giving you additional or in advance 1%, even for the most basic illnesses and coverages that it is unexpected, could be just a benign skin cancer, and there are companies that will give you a little bit of hope, a little bit of help that can help you get through a month, can get you help to get through a few weeks, can help you get through a small or a shorter period of time of recovery and still be beneficial so that you are protected, your regular financial planning is protected, and part of your support is there so that you can make those calls quickly and get recovered fast. Some of these companies can have a survival period, others don't. There are possibilities of getting insurance at a 0-day survival period. Sometimes the companies have a variety of selections where you can choose from 0-day survival periods for certain conditions, and other conditions might have 30 days, 90 days or more survival periods within the policy. So it's very important to read your policies, talk to your advisors, and ask the right questions. I stress that very, very much so, that get to know your advisors by asking them the right question, because they matter because it's your planning, it's your life, and it's your budget. Forget that. Survival periods, as we talked about, there are 30 days. There's also an important element that we have clients confused about. Critical illness policy or a living benefit policies tend to have two structures: a guaranteed renewable and a non-cancelable policy. A guaranteed renewable policy tends to keep the premium same and gets renewed on a term-to-term basis at a regular rate. But it has a potential of increasing the premium for the insured based on insurer's discretion, but it's not increased just on you. If they increase that rate, it usually impacts the group you belong to. It could be a lifestyle group, it could be based on gender, it could be based on age group, that the insurance has seen a risk change in the market and can potentially increase your premium while your term is ongoing. And they can evaluate this on a year-to-year basis. But important to know is that you are not individually rated. The entire group or a section of a group belonging to that structure of the pool gets rated if the rating comes and you see a little bit of increase in premium. Whereas a non-cancelable policy, which is also guaranteed renewable non-cancelable policy, these policies cannot increase your premium payments regardless what impact the pool has. And a non-cancelable policies, the insurer cannot cancel your policy, but you get to make the choice if you do wish to cancel those policies. Of course, you are in power, but the insurer, once issued and once they have given you that policy, they do not have power to cancel that policy or increase the premium payments at any point during the term or the period of coverage. So understand them carefully, because once more, you should be able to reach out to the advisor and ask them what coverage you have and what the definitions mean, because a policy reading is very important. You need an advisor that knows what they have sold to you, that understands and can stand by you for your family needs, for that drastic situation during that claim process when you need them the most. And they should be able to stand strong along with you, give you that benefit, get you that helping hand that is deserved, because it's your hard-earned money, it's your hard-earned work that will put it into your financial plan. So know that your advisors should be backing you up. Sorry, I apologize, just tripped there. Know that your financial planners, your insurance providers, your brokers have got your back and you have understood when you did get it. Definitions matters importantly. One way to think about a critical illness policies is they tend to be a policy on a listed basis. What this means is that if the policy has that coverage covered, they will list it on the policy. And if it's not listed on the policy, it is not covered. So understand this differently. Other policies, such as disability policies, a little bit more universalized. They cover a vast variety of illnesses and injuries to get you a varied form of coverage, whereas a critical illness policy is a listed policy, what means that the policy tells exactly what they are going to cover, when they are going to cover, and how much they are going to pay for that coverage. So it's very important to know that what is on your policy, how it is defined, and what it means for you. So please reach out, know these stuff, and if you haven't got the time, take the time. and know, because we cannot just assume that you have something when you might not, or that you believe you have something when you might be unaware of the truth written on those documents. We talked about this significantly. We will continue to explain this one more time. Survival period is very much important in a critical illness policy. Survival period is simply from the time you were diagnosed with an illness that is covered, an illness that is covered on your policy. Since the point you have been diagnosed, you must survive that for the survival period. If the survival period is 30 days, you must survive the 30 days, and you will see your benefit start on the first after the 30 days. So let's say 31 day. You must understand this, that survival periods exist and they always have implications on the policy. And yes, it impacts your ability to make a claim, but it also impacts your premium payments. It also impacts how you decide which conditions you wish to cover at what stages and when. So your premiums can be planned accordingly and understood accordingly. So please look at the situation, look at the conditions that is covered and how that survival period will impact you. Maybe a small condition might not impact your life if you have group benefits from work, or you have a little bit of your own saving and you can recover within 20, 30 days or so, then maybe we don't need to cover that risk and save ourselves a little bit of premium. But if it's a drastic situation, an undeniable condition that is right on our face, we don't want to miss them. We want coverage for that. We want the right coverage for that. You want your insurance to pay for it. So please understand these needs. We have a small coverage or options that we have got a little bit of information from our insurance providers, and we see these coverage benefits differentiation. Here is an example of a company differentiation where we have seen one company beat out on critical illness. There are other companies as well, but depending on your plans and needs, they differ, the choices differ, and the options differ. So this information we are providing, a comparison chart, is, we would say, a little bit on the surface level. It is to provide you a general idea of comparison and a general idea of how varied these coverages can differ. One of the pillar that we have used for comparison is a company that provides the most coverage, and then we have taken that as a reference point with other companies. And it's not that we support one company over the other, it's all the idea as in what is covered by whom, and of course taking coverage with the most coverage and doing comparison helps us and helps you make that decision and understand the concept. So here the example is from Desjardins Health Priorities Program, which is their critical illness policies available. Their options are very diverse and comprehensive, and that's why we are seeing these coverages. Harmony provides a coverage, and you can see it. We'll quickly move through these slides, and you can get more details on this, but we'll leave them one step at a time. Here is a, can we go? Here is a comparison or understanding that this comparison, if you see, health priorities policy do not focus on certain conditions and pay out 100% because they don't see the risk in it. But that doesn't necessarily mean that you don't see it or your lifestyle or your history doesn't see it. For that situation, we might have to put some of our risk and our risk tolerance and financial planning in a company that provides that 100% coverage for the condition that matters to you. We'll take another comparison here. Here is Desjardins against Sun Life, both popular companies, both coverages. Now there's a difference here as well, where if you see the health priorities focuses on providing that advanced 15%. What it means is that if you had a full coverage of let's say 100,000, and you get an advance of 15%, so you still have the remaining balance. So you get that 15,000 on an advance condition, and you still have the remaining 85%, right? You still have the coverage that's ongoing, or 85,000. Whereas Sun Life program is a little bit different, but doesn't offer coverages where others do. And Sun Life's 15% is actually on top of your regular benefit. So if you have 100,000 benefit and you're diagnosed with some of these conditions, you can get 15% or $15,000 or up to $15,000 on top of your original plan. So it doesn't impact your original plan, but they give you that 15%, but it's not an advance, it's on top. So again, understanding your needs, understanding your options can vary. Do you want more illnesses covered, or do you wish to focus on those illnesses and get that additional benefits when needed? And it can vary according to your own situation. And not everybody has the same situation, same lifestyle, or same family history, or the same age, or same health. We must consider all these options as we get along. We'll look at some other ones. Industrial Alliance, once again, we see these options of advance 15% or 15%, condition covered or not covered. So look into these diversified understanding and variety of options available in the market. Not all policies are same. Rather, not all policies with the same companies are the same. Does Jardine offers variety of options? So does Industrial Alliance offer different options. But you have to look at it, you have to understand it, and again, reach out to the advisor you can trust, those who can answer your question and get you the information you need that is accurate and well supported. We have another comparison of Manulife, where we jump from 15 to almost 25% benefits. Great program, and we see that little bit of additional loss of independence starting to roll in that other companies might have not looked into. When we'll talk about what loss of independence means in the next few slides. It's more Canada Life. We see a variety of options, a variety of conditions that cover. Here, the focus is on the comparison. A lot of standard health conditions like heart attack, stroke, and cancer, those are not listed here. Please keep that in mind. They do cover those. We are looking at the differences, not on similarities, because they can all be on the same pages. Their definitions can vary, but they tend to be within the same structure. So we are focused on the differences on these slides. So keep that in mind. And again, better knowledge is when you ask the right questions. More comparison, we do represent all these organizations, so do know that we have a vast portfolio to provide multiple solutions that can help you in different variety of formulas. We are called Affinity Insurance Solutions because we provide you the table where you have approach to several solutions. With our expert advice, you get the flexibility of choice. So you make that call with transparency and our advocacy for your needs. Once more, we have coverage comparison with RBC, and we see these differences. So one of the questions we get asked more often, what if I didn't get any of these conditions? I lived a happy, healthy life and everything was hunky-dory. Wonderful, congratulations. You're among the very few rare individuals with very good health, and you should celebrate it. Let's go out for a beer. Maybe not. We have to understand that it's not as simple. Critical illness is a drastic situation. We all tend to live an unhealthy life, and we want to get through this situation, this journey of our life in the most healthy prosperity and the word I'm looking for is willfully or happiness. Wait, we want to be happy, we want to be excited. And once more, if you have made it and you didn't get the conditions, you can have options of either return of premiums. You can have an option of not getting return premiums by paying lower premiums. We have to calculate and see if it's beneficial to you. You can also have options to convert these policies into long-term care options available in the market with certain insurance program. So again, if you didn't get any of the critical illness, congratulations. But we all age, and you can get options to make ourselves protected in the best way possible, even after our retirement. So it's not just about getting to the retirement line, to that red line or the crossing line on the daily activities. We want to live a good, healthy life, and you want that support when we get to that stage of our life on retirement, so we don't need to depend on others. Options exist. Great question to be asked. Fantastic to reach out and see how it's going to impact you. We'll take a question period, but we want to go back to a slide that is missed. So give me 1 minute here, please. Can we go back to the slide on? There. There we go. We talked about long-term care, and we talked about loss of benefits or loss of coverage when we lose or temporarily lose our autonomy. Certain companies do provide coverage even if you didn't get one of the listed critical illness, but you are not able to do at least 2 out of 6 daily living activities. If it's for a short term, usually it's a 15% payout on early or advance, or up to certain percentage, depending on the company. But if it's a lifelong situation where you have suffered a health condition or a life situation where you are not able to do any 2 out of 6 living conditions, and the 6 living conditions that we normally talk about is bathing, dressing, toileting, hygiene, mobility, and feeding. If you're not able to do any 2 out of these activities, most critical illness policies can offer you these options so that you can still be covered under certain situations that might not be on that critical illness list, but we can get that protection to give us that boost, that benefit we might need, because we are all humans. Insurance company understands that it's not just about critical illness, it's about critical health situations in life, and you can make that claim. Hence, there are companies that offer these benefits, there are companies that consider this factor. They have certain definition and conditions associated with it, but you can make a claim and can be very benefited under these structures or these options as well, beyond the listed conditions. So 90 days here is a general message that we see within the policies, that you must have these conditions for longer than 90 days. It's not just about a couple days or a few months in this case, or it's not about survival period. It is about that this condition has lasted a long time and it's impacting your financial situation, and it's impacting or will impact the rest of your life. Then these policies do make out a claim, and you can be helped with this support structure of critical illness policy. So do know them, do see these options on a regular basis. Please, if you have further questions or concerns, let's talk about it and see if I can answer as many questions today as possible and reach out and help you today. So please go ahead, and we'll open up the mics for if anybody has any questions or concerns, and I will do my best to help you out. Thank you for coming today. Really appreciate it. And thank you for watching our seminar on critical illness. Do come to our second seminar on disability the next Saturday and learn how that impacts and how it can help you in the most important part of your financial planning is protecting your income. So let's open the mics and see who and how many we can help out today. Does anybody have any questions today, concerns today? Did anybody wish me to make any concepts better or clear for you? Seems like everyone had a great session and they got every point that I wanted to discuss. We have these webinar ongoing in two sources. We'll look at the questions from both. Anything on our Facebook viewers, please let us know.
Okay. Yep. Thanks, Gautam bhai. It was wonderful.
Yeah, go ahead. Thank you, Gautam bhai. Do you have a question?
No, it was a wonderful presentation and good to know some few points. Yeah.
Well, thank you for coming, and I appreciate it. Thanks for the comment. I have a question here. Say if I have a heart attack or other eligible critical illness and recovery in a few weeks or months, then return to work, would I receive the payment? Wonderful question. Depends on the severity of the condition and on the policy, if it's covered condition or not. It also depends on the survival period that we have selected or options that you have selected with us at the time of getting the policy issued. So if you have a 0-day survival period, maybe you do have that coverage and that can pay you that advance 15%, or can pay you that advance even 1%, or if it's a lifelong situation, it can even pay you the full benefit amount. And if you recover in a short term very well, you can keep the funds as long as the insurance company has made the claim and the doctors has diagnosis as a terminal situation under heart condition, then you can keep that fund for that ongoing treatment and ongoing precautions against that situation happening again. If it's something minor and the insurance company does not cover it, then unfortunately it is an excluded coverage. We try to make sure that that situation doesn't arrive by making sure that you get the right coverage. But that again depends on your budget, your needs, and your plan. Hope that helps you to understand the payments can vary according to how severe the condition was, what is the definition written on the policy, and how that policy will pay out according to that defined condition. Thank you. One more question or further more questions?
Yeah, I have one question, Gautam bhai.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
So how does the recurrence of the disease works? Let's say heart disease occur or it's an initial stage cancer and they started advancing 15%. And after certain months has the same disease reoccurrence. So will they pay on that thing?
Yes, they will pay on that thing. If the disease progresses into becoming worse, then you will look towards that 100% payout. Depending on the diagnosis and what the doctor has diagnosed, essentially. We have to keep in mind that the doctor has to be certified in Canada and has to be approved by a Canadian doctor. Regardless where in the world this situation occurs, it has to go through an approved Canadian doctor that recognizes, and if they do and the situation does get worse, then you do have the access to the full payment. There are companies that offer a different kind of second option or second critical illnesses, that if you got one critical illness and you got full 100% payout, the policy will continue for any other future condition other than the one that was paid out. So example here is, let's say you had a heart attack and the company paid out and it was life-threatening But with the modern technology, with modern support system, you survived it, you managed it, and you had that long-lasting impact, and you're living a stable life. And years later, cancer struck. And yes, the second option will come into play. And once more, if they meet the definitions of the company, you can get the second payment from the insurance company. So we have to look at the situation, look at that policy, and see what's best in your interest.
Thanks, Gautam.
No problem.
Yeah, thanks, Gautam. Just one more additional, just on that question only. So you said the additional payment will get, certain companies give that for the additional payment. So during that time, the premium continues or it stopped like after first 100%?
So in most cases with second claim options, if the company is offering, the premium continues. Some companies could have a rider on it where you stop making premium payments if you have been diagnosed, and they will continue the coverage after the initial 15% or advance has been paid without you having to pay, but you have to make those calls or decisions while choosing the policy or the insurer.
Okay, yeah, sounds good. Thanks a lot.
No problem. All right, wonderful questions today. Some very interesting topics, and I feel like people are opening their minds to the concept and asking the right question. So once more, reach out to our valued advisors, our team, and see how we can help you make the call. And we are here to help. So please reach out to Affinity Insurance Solution and get the trusted advice, the advice you can count. That is our promise. That is our hard work towards you. So thank you again for everyone joining, and thank you for supporting Affinity Insurance Solution. We look forward to serving you and your needs. Thank you. We'll still leave it open for another few questions if there is any, or we'll call this an evening, and have a wonderful long weekend. Enjoy this time with your family, and make sure that you and your family are protected with the right financial plan. Most welcome. Thank you guys for coming. Believe we have no more questions. Please reach out to our email addresses or call us, and we will be here to help out. Have a wonderful evening, everyone, and thank you for coming.